So hello and welcome to all. Welcome to Research Circle. I hope I'm audible. So our today's topic for webinar is how to prepare for international English language test. That is IELTS, TOEFL, PT, and Cambridge English test. And for this, today we have with us our expert for this webinar is uh, R. Daniel Rudraj, and he's an assistant professor of English at American College, Madurai, India. So, without wasting further time, I would like to welcome Dr. Daniel. You can continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. Greetings to all the participants. Today's topic for discussion is how to prepare for international English language tests. First of all, let us just look at the history of English. Okay? History of English, people who study English literature may be familiar with the history of English language. English language is a combination of 18 tribal languages, and later on, English-speaking countries, particularly England, which is the motherland of English language, became so powerful, and because of that, uh, England has colonized so many countries around the world, and those colonies are called English colonies. English colonies can be divided into two categories. One is called settler colonies. In settler colonies, people of England, the native speakers of English, yes, any difficulty? Native speakers of English, they migrated to such countries, and they settled there in those countries, particularly Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and United States of America. These countries are called settler colonies, where the people of England, particularly the people in general, people of Europe, migrated to such places, and they have started living from those countries. And there are other colonies also. They are called invader colonies. Invader colonies, in the sense, the English ruled those colonies for some time, and they left the land to the inhabitants of those land, and they went back to their own country. India is one such colony, invader colony, where the British people ruled for over more than 200 years. And they at last they gave freedom for the people of India, and they went back to their own country. These invader colonies are India, Pakistan, Nigeria, South Africa. Okay, you can say South Africa is part of the invader colony and settler colony. So English people, some of them have already settled there in South Africa. So this is
English language test. આ બધું જોયા કરતો webinar પર.
Yes.
આજનો વેબિનારનો સબ્જેક્ટ હતો how to prepare for international English language test.
Yes. I'm coming to that point. Okay, just I'm giving you the background of international English language tests. Okay, first of all, we must understand why these tests are conducted. We must understand the background, and then only we can start looking at the ways in which we can prepare for these tests. Okay, many people do not know why these tests are conducted. Because we are living in an age of technology where all the engineering and professional graduates, they want to migrate to English-speaking countries, and when they approach those institutions, they ask for IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, and other international exams, and they do not know why should they clear the test. And this is the background. Okay, we start from the background, and then we will just see how to prepare for that test. So these two type of colonies are there, and in all the colonies, whatever colony it may be, invader or settler colony, the English not only ruled those countries, but they have introduced their language and the system of education in these countries uses mainly English. So we understand from this that English is a common language for both invader colonies and then settler colonies, because settler colonies are the people who have settled in settler colonies are those who have migrated from England, so their native language is English. But in invader colonies like ours, they have introduced English language education. Because of that, the non-native speakers of English, like Indians, we don't speak English. English is not our mother tongue. Yet we consider English as a second language because the British people, they not only ruled our country, they have introduced English language education. So we are considered as English, second English as, we consider English as a second language, because we have our own mother tongue too. So now the world can be divided into two categories. One is native speakers of English. Native speakers of English, they are from, not only in UK. UK is, there are three different places there in UK, okay, England, Ireland, and Scotland. Not only that, Australia is considered as a native speakers country. New Zealand is considered as a native speakers country. Canada is considered as a native speakers country. United States of America is considered as native speakers country. So what happens is, the native speakers of English, they have emulated this new form of international English language test. Please to understand, for those who come from non-native speaking countries. So they made it mandatory for all those who want to migrate to native speaking countries from non-native speaking countries. It is mandatory for all those participants, all those candidates, to clear an international English language test. It's compulsory, they have made it. Otherwise, you cannot migrate to those countries. Mainly, we migrate for two purposes. One is for academic purposes, another one is we migrate for on working visa. We want to go there, and we want to go there seeking employment. So they want to conduct this test. You may ask this question: why should this test be conducted? Because they have already introduced English language education in our country, and most of us do our education in English. The medium of education in India is English only. Then why should we take this test? It may be a question for many who take this test. It is compulsory for all those who want to migrate to native speaking countries because we have been, from our birth, we have been living in a country where English is only a second language. But after professionally we qualify ourselves, when we are trying to migrate to a country where the native language is English, then the environment is totally different. For example, if you live in Delhi, when you go out of your house, you speak the native language Hindi. If you live in Ahmedabad, you can speak Gujarati. If you live in Tamil Nadu, we speak Tamil. English comes only as a second language. English is not a common man's language in India, whereas it is used only for specific purposes. But when these people who are born in non-native countries, if they migrate to native-speaking countries, they need to accommodate to the situation there where everybody speaks only in English. So this is the purpose of introducing these tests. They want to check whether you can accommodate yourself in a native speaking country. This is the very purpose of these tests. So from this, we must understand that this is not a knowledge-based test. You need not study anything for these tests. There are so many guides, bazaar guides, this and that available in the market, which can give you a kind of an understanding on these tests. But if you study this guide, will you be clearing the test? It is not such. Please to understand these tests are, because these tests are not knowledge-based tests, they are skill-based tests. They use English as a skill. The tests are mainly aimed whether you can survive, whether you can get something from a shop, from a native speaking country. Can you understand their language? Can you express yourself to them? So it is a waste of time if you buy so many guides, this and that, and prepare for these examinations. Naturally, this is a skill-based test, and it doesn't require any preparation because it tests your English language skills. When you consider English language skills, the English language skill can be divided into 4 categories. Number one, in not only English, any language for that matter. Number one, listening skill. Whether you listen to a language. It's important. If you want to speak a language, or if you want to use a language, you need to listen to that first. So it can be divided as listening skill, speaking skill, reading skills, and writing skills. So listening and speaking are considered as basic skills, whereas reading and writing are considered somewhat advanced skills. When we are born, we listen to our native language, we listen to people around us speaking in native language for 1 year or 1.5 years, and then this listening skill makes us to utter few words in English. Please to understand. So listening is a very basic skill. So they have introduced in all the English language tests, whether it is IELTS, whether it is TOEFL, whether it is PTE, or in all Cambridge ESOL tests, you have a test called listening skills test. How can I complete this test? How can I come out with flying colors with this test? No need to worry. What you have to have is, you must have listening skills. How can I improve listening skills? You can improve listening skills only by listening to the particular language in which you want to learn, in which you want to master, whatever it may be. Without listening to English, you cannot clear this test. Okay, when it comes to the matter of listening, people with different accents in different parts of the world. We speak Indian English. Our accent is totally different. Even in Britain, you have a lot of accents. You have, and the normal man speaking is different from the Queen's English, whatever they speak in the Buckingham Palace. American English is totally different. The Canadian English is there. South African English is also there, and apart from Australian and New Zealand. So when you listen to, there are varieties in English, you must be familiar with all the varieties, because in listening skills test, they may have any one of the varieties of English, and you must be familiar with those things. Sir, how can I just improve my listening skills? By constantly listening to English language. That's all. There are so many videos, American English videos, Canadian English videos, Australian English videos are available for free on YouTube. You can listen to that. And then You can go to the specific listening test. If you are taking up IELTS, then you can go to listening test. There are 14 books available for listening. There are different listening tests. Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So you first, before attempting those listening skill tests which are available through YouTube or through books you buy, you must familiarize yourselves with the English language, how people speak English. At least we must have some patience to speak, to listen to others' speech. All of a sudden, if you expect yourself to listen to a language, you may commit errors. Okay, what do they ask in listening skills test? Listening skill test is aimed at your listening skills. How you listen. You may listen to a conversation. You may overhear a conversation when you migrate to a native speaking country, whether you can follow that conversation. You may have to call the airport or the ticket booking office for booking a ticket, or you may be put in a situation where you might be in a position to call a hospital for help, or you may have to have a conversation with your neighbor. All these things are tested in listening skills, and in listening skills you have to be very, very careful with the way they pronounce things, particularly not only words but also the numerals. They say 1005 like that, 1005 VVOs. So the way in which they pronounce numerals and the way in which they speak words. So these things you need to be familiar with. For that, you just watch many English videos and familiarize yourself before taking these official tests. Then comes speaking. Speaking skills test is conducted in different ways. Particularly, most of the participants from India, they take up IELTS test. There are other alternatives to IELTS, which I talk about it later. Here in IELTS, they conduct a one-to-one speaking test. All other tests, listening, reading, and writing, are conducted on one particular date, and they allot a separate date for a speaking skills test, where the participants, the candidates' speaking skill is tested on one-to-one basis. The examiner is there, and he or she conducts the test, and for 15 minutes. And what is tested in speaking skills test, and what we have to prepare for is this. Okay, this is a speaking skills test, and you are supposed to speak for 15 to 16 minutes. What will be tested? What will be the type of questions you can expect here? In speaking skills test, they examine first your fluency. Can you speak without gap fillers or without verbal fillers for 15 to 16 minutes? When we speak, you might have noticed many people might be using gap fillers. Verbal fillers is somewhat okay, but gap fillers, it means that you are not supposed to express your ideas fluently. So accordingly, they will evaluate your performance. So what we have to do is, before appearing for this test, we must involve in a lot of practice, where we enhance our speaking skills with a lot of fluency. Fluency in the sense, if you keep on repeating the same word, then you may be very much lacking in English vocabulary. Please to understand. Don't use the same word again and again. This may be our speaking style. We Indians use the same word again and again without any meaning. But we can avoid that. We can use different synonyms when we, for that, we need a lot of practice. And apart from that, what will be the questions in speaking skills? Take, for example, IELTS. IELTS exam is divided into two categories. One is IELTS academic and another one is IELTS general training. In PTE, Pearson Test of English, they have only academic. In TOEFL, it is only one exam where we are given only IBT, not PBT. IBT is internet-based test. PBT is paper-based test. Paper-based test is not available in India with regard to TOEFL. But IELTS is available, IELTS PBT and IBT, both are available. Paper-based exam is available, and computer-based, they call it as a CBT, computer-based exam is also available. So here, in speaking skills test, our migration to a native speaking country has two purposes. One is academic. We migrate to a native speaking country for academic purposes, for higher education. And number two, we want to go there and settle in those countries. This comes in two categories. One is for people, skilled people who are qualified. They want to migrate to a native speaking country for employment. And another category is some people, they want to go as a dependent of a skilled person. So there are different kinds of examinations for different purposes. That we will come to that later. Now, with regard to this speaking skill, questions will be based on the purpose of your migration. For example, if you are migrating to academic, on academic purpose, they may ask you a few questions on your aim, your ambition, how you can interact, how you interact with the people, whether you qualify yourselves to be there in an university or an institute of higher education in a native speaking country. These questions also will be based on those things. Generally, they may ask you about your preference, whether you can accommodate yourself in those countries. The purpose of those questions will be to see whether you can accommodate to those countries. And whatever you answer is correct. What they test you is your fluency, number one. Fluency means your vocabulary range. Number two, coherence. Coherence in the sense whether you have a development. The second sentence should be the development of the first sentence. When you speak 5 sentences, for that matter, the second sentence is the development of the first sentence, and the third sentence is the development of the second sentence. You must follow some cohesion and coherence. Coherence in the sense is there continuity in your speech, or it is fragmented. Many people speak in fragments. We may have to look into to the entire speech, and we may have to come to a conclusion that this means this means that, like that. But it should not be like that. You must have a coherence and cohesion. Cohesion is that there must be some sense. So these things only are looked at. Sir, can I use very bombastic words, high-sounding language? No, not at all. Your diction can be as normal as a normal man's diction. You are not expected to produce high-sounding words. But fluency is essential with regard to speaking skills test. And then we move on to the next test. These two tests are listening and speaking are considered as basic tests, basic skills. Whereas here we go to higher on scale, reading and writing, an advanced skill. So reading test, reading skills. Reading test is based on reading skills. Sir, I have completed civil engineering. Will my IELTS test reading passages will be only on civil engineering? No. You may have a passage on biomedical engineering or microbiology or anything. So where do they take these tests from? The passages are taken from internationally reputed journals. So in reading skills test, they test your reading skills. Don't talk about the passages. The first passage is easier, the second passage is somewhat difficult, the third passage is more difficult. People talk like that. Don't look upon the passages. In this part of the test, the aim of this test is to test your reading skills. Your reading skills. So here you must understand the nuances of reading. There are two techniques. One is called skimming, another one is called scanning. These two techniques are called reading techniques. When you read, you can use any one of these two techniques. What is skimming? Skimming is having a bird's eye view of the passage. Normally, they give 11 to 13 paragraphs. First of all, we must understand what a paragraph is. That thing is called reading passage. That passage consists of so many paragraphs. I said 11 to 13 paragraphs. Okay, that's good. So what is a paragraph? A paragraph, each paragraph consists of an idea. For example, we divide our ideas into different paragraphs and make it a passage. So each and every paragraph in that passage, if there are 11 paragraphs, there must be 11 ideas. And those 11 ideas, they are combined together, called as a passage expressing one main idea. The main idea is expressed through the title of the passage. So coming back to this technique called the skimming technique, we already know that each paragraph has only one idea. What about 15 sentences in a paragraph? So there are 15 sentences or 8 sentences or 10 sentences in a paragraph. Only one sentence expresses the idea. Only one sentence has the idea for writing the paragraph. This is the idea which made the writer to write the paragraph. And we must identify that idea. What about other sentences? There are remaining 14 sentences. Those other 14 sentences, either they may explain or support or give definition or even oppose the main idea, whatever it may be. But they are not the main ideas. So each paragraph, if there are 13 paragraphs, you skim through the passage, you skim through the paragraphs. In skimming through the paragraph means you identify the main ideas in each and every paragraph, so you can quickly run through the paragraphs and you can complete reading the passage within 2 to 3 minutes. This is skimming. We must use skimming technique when we approach reading skills test. Then comes scanning. After skimming through the passage, what we have to do is we have to read the questions one by one. Read all the questions. You read the first question. Naturally, in all the English language, international English language tests, all the questions are chronologically arranged. The first question will definitely be from the first paragraph. The second paragraph. Maybe third also from the second paragraph. They are chronologically arranged. You cannot expect the first answer for the first question in the 11th paragraph. If the answer is also found in the 11th paragraph, it is not the answer. It is a further explanation of the point which is expressed in the first paragraph. So after skimming through the paragraphs, you just read the question and understand the question and go to the specific place and look for the answer. Definitely you will be getting it. Sir, time is so short, sir. I'm not able to read all the things and understand. You need not read and understand the entire passage in reading skills test. Please to understand. Skim, if you use skimming and scanning, it is enough. And then comes writing tests. This is the most advanced skill. This is the area where many people think that they are not very strong. Writing means we are supposed to write something. On a given topic. Whatever it may be. We say that, sir, I can't write for 250 words or 150 words or something like that. But writing is an essential skill. We must understand that we do write every day. No day passes without we writing something. We write an SMS, we write a WhatsApp message. When we write a WhatsApp message, we don't say that we write, we say we send. So replace that word send with write. We write so many things every day. But when it comes to a matter of writing test, we find that we are not able to write. Though many people write, they are not able to get a very high band score, because that it means that they are not very much skilled in writing, because they do not know the writing techniques. You need not be a great writer, you need not be a novelist, you need not be a scientific writer to clear international English language tests. What you have to be is this. You must follow some writing techniques. What are they? What are those techniques? These techniques are very simple. As I said in reading skills test, we must write in paragraphs. First of all, read the question, whatever it may be. Many people don't have the tendency to read the question in full. Any writing skills test has different parts. For example, in IELTS, there are 3 parts. Number 1, they give the question. And number 2 and number 3, they give some instruction. Many people read the question alone, that too they read the question only half, and they start writing. So what happens? We don't understand what the question is. And what we have to write, we simply have to, in any international language test for that matter, we need to answer the question. Simply answer the question. That's what we are doing. You are specifically mentioning that answer the question. Many people do not answer the question. They write whatever they know. They want to show all their skills. It means that your writing is not proper, because writing skills test is evaluated on these scales. Number 1, task completion. Whether in all the tests they go for this task completion, but writing skill test becomes very important. Whether you are able to complete the task. Task completion means whether you have followed all the instructions and whether you have given whether you have answered the question. Now, question when we do not answer the question and when we simply write so many things, it is not considered as an answer. And then we need to take care of these things when we write something. For example, in IELTS academic, in TOEFL also they have this question has, there are two parts, part 1 and part 2 in IELTS. Part 1 has verbal translation of a picture, a pen picture we can call it. They give you a chart, a pie chart, a graph, or a picture, or anything for that matter. A pictorial representation of something is given, for which you have to change the same into a verbal representation. You have to write. It may be a description, it may be a guidance, it may be something. You need to do the verbal representation. You must write it in 150 words. Here you have to follow these things. When you write, when you respond to that, there must be fluency first. There must be coherence. Sentences should be, ideas should be arranged in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. There must be some slow development of ideas. And there should not be any repetition. Because we are seeing a picture, we are seeing a graph, and we are writing about it. Sir, can we have to write all the details? No need. No need. Sir, here they have given one detail which I have omitted. You can omit anything. What they are looking at is, number 1, your fluency. Number 1, your spelling. And your expression. Whether your ideas are developed slowly. You can write whatever you have seen and whatever you have understood on those things. From the graph, from the pie chart, from the picture, whatever it may be. It is the content can be yours. But you must write without any errors. There must be slow development of ideas. And you should have completed the task. Completed the task means you must have used enough words. These are all the things which they look at. And the second part in academic is essay writing, where you need to write essays. When you write essays, an essay is a normal essay. For example, a student essay should at least have 5 paragraphs. Introduction, first paragraph, last paragraph, conclusion, and there must be 3 paragraphs. Whatever you think content can be delivered in 3 paragraphs. So there must be a minimum of 5 paragraphs. Can I write more, sir? Yes, you can write more. But if you write in 5 paragraphs, it is sufficient. If you write in just a complete from the beginning, first page to the 4th page, no paragraph division, then you do not know the writing technique. You do not know what is paragraphing. You are not able to divide the ideas into different paragraphs. So when you write paragraphs, you must talk only one idea. So before writing an essay, you must plan. You must take the topic and what are the relevant points. You divide them into different ideas, 5 ideas or 3 ideas, and you represent each idea in each paragraph, and you give an introduction to that, and you conclude the essay. The essay can be concluded in any way, whether you agree to that or not. If you agree, then you can discuss that. If you disagree, then if you disagree. If you talk about advantages, you talk about advantages. If you talk about disadvantages, you can talk about disadvantages. So anything, you are at your freedom to express your ideas. But these things should be followed. There must not be any spelling mistakes, spelling errors, any punctuational errors, and the paragraphing should be followed. The only one topic sentence should be there, and it should be supported by other sentences, and it should be well within the word limit also. You can exceed maybe 20 to 50 words extra, but it should not go beyond that. If you are asked to write an essay in 250 words, then you need not write 2,500 words, or you cannot complete it in 50 words also. And ideas should be complete. They should not be hanging in the air. So these are all the things which you need to take care of before you take up this international English language testing system. And there are different types of tests, online and offline. Mostly in India, IELTS is popular. Apart from IELTS, if anyone finds to clear, it's difficult to clear IELTS or try to get a very, if you consider that getting a very high band score in IELTS is difficult, you can try other options also. Because all the tests are accepted all around the countries. Before you take up the particular test, you just explore the options. You consult with the institution where you are going to migrate, what kind of test they prefer. Accordingly, you can start preparing yourself and take up those tests. So here, International English Language Testing System, IELTS, it has, as I said, it has two categories. First one is, academic, IELTS academic, and another one is IELTS general training. All these tests have these four skills: reading skill, writing skill, speaking skill, and listening skill. All the four skills are tested basically. In all other exams also, these four skills are tested. Testing pattern differs. So we must choose correct pattern. For example, if you are a computer savvy, you can type easily without any errors. You can go for IBT, TOEFL IBT, internet-based test. If you are not so good on computer, if you find it difficult to operate the keyboard, then you can prefer IELTS paper-based test. You can, if you are good at computers, you can write even computer-based test also. A computer-based test give us the results in a short time, in 3 to 4 days, whereas a paper-based test take 2 weeks at least for the results. So accordingly, you can design. IELTS has 9 band scores, band 1 to band 9. Band 9 is the maximum band which you can score. And then band 1 is the minimum. If you get band 1, you are not eligible for any kind of a migration. But band 8, band 6, band 7, band 8. So before preparing for your exams, you please consult your institution or your employer about the band requirement. If they require 6, you can prepare accordingly. If they require 8, then you need to put yourself for some preparation for some time. Then only you can take up the examination. And these examinations are valid for 2 years. So after completion of these examinations, you can be there. It is valid for 2 years. You can search your positions elsewhere before 2 years. Otherwise, you need to write it again. For example, I take up IELTS and I migrate to Canada, and I started completing. I started doing my higher studies there, and I completed. After 2 years, I returned to India, and again I get some doctoral position there, and I want to migrate again to Canada. Then you need to take up the test, because your validity for the previous test is over. You need to take up the test again, because you have migrated. If you stay back in Canada after writing the test, you complete your post-graduation and you stay there in Canada, you seek some employment. In the meantime, you get a doctoral degree. You pursue that. You need not write the test again, because you can use the previous test. But once when you come back to this country, again you need to write the test. So there are some technicalities, whether you are eligible for this, whether you need to use the previous test result, or you need to take up again. It depends upon the institution or the workplace where you are going to work, where you are going to migrate. So you need to consult with the employer or the institution about these details. This is actually a skill-based test. You need not worry much about these tests. In all the tests, they have only band scores 1 to 9. In TOEFL, band 9 means getting 209 plus score of 209 plus in the test. 8.5 means 205 to 208. 8 means 202, 204, like that. They are divided. You need to check with your employer and or the institution of higher education for the test score which you require. Your preparation should be based on the score you require. For example, if you are migrating on a dependent visa, if you take up IELTS, 4 is enough. Band 4 is enough. You need not get 8. But if you are a professionally qualified person, if you want to migrate to Germany, then you may require 7.5 or 8. And in some cases, there may be a requirement, band requirement of, for example, if you migrate on a dependent visa, you can take a Cambridge ESOL examination for visa purposes, which is totally different. They test only your listening and speaking skills. Whereas if you are a professional, then you need to take all the 4 tests. So first of all, you just clarify what is your requirement and choose a test accordingly. There are so many tests available. If you choose a wrong one, you may not migrate. There may be some difficulties. For example, if you are planning to migrate on a work visa, if you take up IELTS academic, no, I'm academically sound, I will take only academic, then you are not eligible, because you have to take, you may be a doctorate just in engineering, but if you want to migrate on a work visa, you need to take IELTS general training, otherwise it will not be accepted. So choose the correct exam, correct test for your purpose. So these tests are considered as English for specific purposes. And don't be afraid of these tests. They are meant for, test your English language skills, whether you can accommodate yourself in a native speaking country. Okay. We have 10 more minutes to go. Before that, I want to check whether any one of you have any doubts or something like that. You can just ask me now, and then we can continue. Any personal clarifications needed, like that? Any difficulty? If you have, you can ask me.
If anyone has to ask anything, please unmute yourself and you can ask.
If there are no questions and no doubts, then we can continue with the PTE. Other alternatives, I said, other alternatives to IELTS are PTE. This is becoming quite popular in India. It's conducted by Pearson Education. They conduct only, PTE academic in India. PTE academic is the leading computer-based test. This test is quite preferable because they publish the results in lightning fast, because they immediately publish the results after the test, and it is accepted in as a fast-growing English language test in US, Canada, UK, New Zealand, and Australia. This is something different from IELTS and TOEFL. Because they give, they follow these techniques. They consider, they call their tests accurate, because lowest SEM means a standard error of measurement compared to other English language tests. So here the scoring scale, you can easily scale the scoring scale because of this lowest SEM. In other language tests, particularly IELTS, it is very difficult to score above band 6 because their SEM is somewhat difficult. They very minutely look for error. Their error measurement is something different. But here, lowest error measurement. That's why you can score a better band. And then it is actually secure, they say, because they use biometric system and other things, paperless tests, and these are all the advantages. And only relevant questions are asked like that. They say, they claim, and it is an alternate to IELTS. If you get band 5.5 in IELTS, there is no 0.5 in PT. That is an advantage. You can get a full band score, 5, 6 like that. If you get 5.5, there is every chance in PT you may get 6. So comparatively, 5.5 is has a lot of 6 has a lot of difference than 5.5. 5.5 is a mediocre performance, whereas if you get 6, then some universities, some employers, they accept 6. So instead of taking up IELTS and getting 5.5, you can think of taking PTE. PTE test is a computer-based test only. It's among all the tests, apart from TOEFL, this is the best computer-based test. So you can consider this test. Because it is done on computer, the results are published easily, and the mark score is also sent to you quickly. Apart from that, we have Cambridge English language tests. Cambridge English language tests are divided into 4 categories: B1, B2, C1, C2, and each has a different level. You must understand the level which you require, and you can appear for the correct examination. For B1 is a prime, and before B1 they have some primary tests also. For primary things they have some tests. Apart from this, Cambridge conducts ESOL, for UK visa. If you want to migrate to UK visa and dependent visa, you can take up UK visa tests also. Now they have just amalgamated these 2 things, UK visa and this ESOL C1, B1, B2, C1, C2 also together. So you can discuss with the High Commission and what are the requirements. Accordingly, you can take up these tests. Cambridge is the university. Cambridge University is conducting IELTS. They are just setting the question paper for IELTS. IELTS is conducted owned by 3 partners, they say. It is Cambridge University which sets the question paper, and British Council and IDP Australia. These are the agencies to conduct the tests in India. So question paper comes from a question paper, and the evaluation pattern. Evaluation is also done by Cambridge University. Trained people in India, and then they have these 2 agencies, British Council and IDP. Sir, which agency I should apply? Both are good. Both are same. They both follow the same question pattern, same question paper from the Cambridge University. Sir, IDP is somewhat easier, British Council is somewhat easier. No, not like that. Both are only test conducting agencies, that's all. They conduct the test in India. The question paper is set by the Cambridge University. Cambridge University, apart from conducting IELTS test through British Council and IDP Australia, they also conduct their own tests. They are called as ESOL tests. These ESOL tests are mainly to check your CFR level, and some of the tests are conducted for free also. These CFR tests can be taken through Cambridge University mobile applications too. If you want to check, I don't want to migrate to any country, but I want to check my English language skills, then you can use those applications for testing your skills, and you can check yourself whether what level are you in, B1 level or B2 level or C1 or C2 level. So these tests doesn't require any kind of a preparation. If you are good in English, or else practice yourself before taking up these tests. If you take up without practice, you may not get the required band score, because you may commit some errors which you may never have noticed. So for that, you need some kind of a preparation for some time. For these tests, don't depend on bazaar guides. There are so many guides which are so costly. Don't depend upon those guides. Rely upon your English language skills. Use a lot of videos and resource materials available in Cambridge English, for ETS, TOEFL, for IELTS. You have a lot of material available in British Council website, BBC, and other things. You regularly follow those updates and take up exams and come out successfully with flying colors. Before winding up, let me also talk about these exams, which are, if you are a graduate and if you want to migrate to a country on teaching purpose. If you want to become a teacher in international schools in India and elsewhere, you can think of writing CELTA. CELTA is conducted by British Council and IDP, and you need to need a require number of training for CELTA. They will train you, and then you can take up the examination. If you get a CELTA certificate, you can become a teacher in international schools in India, in Middle East, or Singapore, Malaysia, or whatever country you want to migrate. With this, we can talk about the teaching tests, on a different webinar, where only for people who want to become teachers, what are the qualifying certificates for teachers around the globe. We will have a separate webinar on that. With this, I thank Research Circle for giving me an opportunity to bring out this webinar on international English language examinations. If you have any doubts or clarifications or any questions, you can write to me on my email, which I have given you in the PPT. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your valuable guidance. Many of you are in the same field and trying to do your graduates or postgraduates or PhDs outside the India or from other countries. So English is a very important language. So thank you for this whole guidance, and I would like to thank all the participants who have joined through the Research Circle app and via YouTube Live and Facebook Live. So with the due permission of today's uh, expert, I would like to conclude and end here. Thank you so much.